I'm Hannah.
I'm Cheyenne.
And this is Population Station's Nightly News Report.
Tonight's segment will be on the climbing world crisis of population. Let's go to our news anchor Jeremy, who's in China, interviewing an American citizen who lives there.
Thank you, Cheyenne. I'm here with Kate Adams of Hong Kong, who is the correspondent between the American and Chinese governments regarding the population crisis. Kate, how would you describe the pressure the government is feeling because of the lack of female presence in the adult population here in China?
Well, as you know, the Chinese government has had strict policies in place since the early 2000s regarding population control, and as a result, not many girls were able to reach a childbearing age due to abortion or adoption in other countries.
So, what does this mean for the current day issues?
Well, this means that the birth rate, which is already nearing negative numbers, will continue to drop. The few women here in China will continue to feel pressure to marry and bear children as soon as possible, and the men will continue their fight over the limited women that are here unless the government makes a change.
Thank you for your input, Kate. We will be back to Cheyenne and Hannah after this quick break.
Welcome back. We've heard about the issues regarding decreasing population, but what about increasing?
Last week, Hannah and I traveled to Africa to check out the issues surrounding the rapidly increasing population. Let's go to the clip.
Hi, we're here in the village of Nzambe, Africa, which is one of the most rapidly growing places in the world.
Here with us are Andresia and Funani Karusha, who are locals from the village. So tell me a little about your life in Nzambe.
Me and Andre spend the day watching the children.
How many children do you have?
We have 7 children and Andre has another one on the way.
So did you guys plan on having a big family, or?
Well, around here it's hard to not have a large number of children because we can't get birth control.
We love our children, but the mouths to feed put a burden on us, and many nights it is hard to get a full dinner for everyone. It's not just our village, it's all places like ours that don't have the birth control.
Wow. So that was Andresia and Funani from Nzambe. You know, Cheyenne, many people here in the States say that the situation in Africa is getting better, but after seeing that...
Yeah, I think in minute cases it may be getting better, but overall there's a huge population boom in a country that doesn't have the resources for the number of people it has.
I completely agree. We're going to a break, but stay tuned because after the break we're going to take a look at the population in America.
Welcome back. The last part of our segment tonight concerns the issues in our own backyard, population in America.
While not as extreme as in places of Africa, there has been a steady increase over the last century. A study done 50 years ago predicted a population growth for 296 million in 2005 to 438 million in our current year of 2055. We have surpassed that number by almost 60 million and are reaching 500 million people living in the U.S.
As we know of, 20% of our citizens are immigrants, which has increased almost 10% since the study Hannah mentioned. So it is safe to say that immigration has played a big part of the population increase.
So our population is increasing. We see it in the slight overcrowding of the major cities, New York, Atlanta, Houston, but the suburbs aren't crowding and they're right outside these big cities. So can we really say that population is a growing crisis here in the U.S.?
To answer your question, we invited Alex Rice, Sarah Adams, 2 leading population analysts with opposing views, to come talk about what they believe is going on here in America.
Thank you for having me, Hannah. You mentioned that the cities are becoming overcrowded, but the suburbs are not. This is true, but it's not because there isn't an overcrowding in other places. We're seeing a rise of people moving away from the suburbs into the smaller areas, causing these places to have an influx in population that usually isn't seen. They're doing this because living near the big cities is almost impossible due to immense traffic and rising crime.
But a relocation of people does not mean that a population crisis is occurring here in America. A crisis is when there are too many people to feed or shelter, not an increase in traffic.
But it's not just an increase of traffic, it's an increase of crime because of the overcrowding. It's an increase in the amount of homeless because of overcrowding. And it's not going to stop in the big cities. It's going to continue to spread as more people immigrate here and more people populate the smaller cities. It may not be a most pressing crisis of the moment, but if we don't prepare ourselves for the near future, we're going to have a national issue at hand.
Yeah, I think that's good. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you, Sarah and Alex. We'll see you next time on Channel 7's Population Station Nightly Report.
Thank you and good night.
Well, that's all the time we have.
What?
Tonight's segment will be on the
Well, that's all this. Is this on right now?
We have surpassed that number by almost 60 million and are reaching half of. Jeremy.
I'm sorry, it got caught on here. This doesn't work. It got caught like on the table. It's not just our village, but it is all places like ours that don't have the birth control.
You sound like a 2-year-old is like trying to read a sentence.
Because that's what it sounds like. Burden on us, and many nights it is hard to get dinner on the table. I can't do it. I can't read it all because I have to look back and forth.
Don't look back and forth, just freaking read it so we can finish this, Jeremy. Literally, everyone's
Okay.
got it down.
Okay, then
Everyone
we'll
has a
skip
mirror
our
on.
part. We'll skip everything. All in the video. Adams of Hong Kong, who is the correspondent. Dang it. Okay, I'll do this. That was just one mess up.
All he has to do is read this. That's all he has to do.
Okay, when I saw Chinese,
All he
it looks
has
like
to do.
cheese.
You're so dyslexic.
Because of the female presence in the, damn it, the lack of. I was doing so good.
We're gonna get it.